singer. I'm also a certified NLP mind coach. I'm also a certified high performance coach and a theta healer. And I am on 12 weeks safe at home. So I'm not allowed to leave my house. So I thought while I'm here, I would share some of the fabulous people that I know with all their wisdom and their knowledge, because I love connecting, championing, and celebrating people. And today we have Dr. Marcie Beigel.
Hello. So excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad because you know what, Dr. Marcie, I was thinking, I gave you the thing of GMT, and I'm not too sure that when we come to summer, does it turn to BST when I'm giving the times over? So I have no idea what happened, but I'm so generous of you.
I don't know, but 4 a.m, 5 a.m. in New York. It's confusing.
No, that's what I mean. So it's so generous of you to even be awake. I really, 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 really appreciate it. I so appreciate it. And so will everybody else, right. Because I know how, just thank you anyway. I just want to say thank you
for having me.
So I would like to introduce Dr. Marcie Beigel. She's the founder and director of Behaviour and Beyond. She's also the author of Love Your Classroom Again and Love Your Family Again. And she's come to share with us today about 5 tips of how to help parents isolate with their children, their kids. And but first, we're going to get to find out a little bit about Dr. Marcie. And just to say, as I always say, we are not medical doctors or psychiatrists. So if you need that type of help or support, please go and seek it. I really, really encourage it. Okay, so yes, please tell us all about you. Tell us how you got into your work, and and your studies around behavior. And I'm so excited.
So I've been working with families and kids and education in that world for over 20 years now. Wow. It is, I love it. It just makes so much sense to me. When I was graduating high school and going to college, my parents said I had spent every summer working at a day camp. My parents said, you need to go get a real job. No more of this summer camp counseling nonsense. And let's be clear, I have amazing parents, but they were like, no more of this. And I was like, what? Okay. And being the person that I was, I then went and got a job at a summer camp for children with special needs.
Oh,
wow. The way to rebel properly.
Yeah.
And I was put in a camp group with 8 children with autism.
Oh, wow.
And they were the most amazing kids I had ever met. Like they made sense to me. They were honest. Like if they didn't like you, they didn't like you. Like if they loved you, they were attached to you. Like most of them were nonverbal. A couple of them had a few words, but you just knew exactly where they were at. And I fell in love.
Yeah.
And so that was the beginning of my path to be a behaviorist, because, one of the main methodologies to work with children with autism, and still is today, is ABA, is applied behavior analysis.
Okay.
And so I went and I learned how to work with these kids in a way that they could really learn. That in some places ABA is really controversial, and I would just love to kind of clear the air and say, good behavioral intervention is good behavioral intervention.
Yeah, amazing.
Bad behavioral intervention is bad intervention across the board, right? And so I think there are ways that it's gotten kerfuffly, but all of us as humans follow the rules of behavior.
Yeah.
So there's been a very specific way to help kids with autism that way. But what my practice taught me was these rules, they're how we all operate.
Yes.
So I started working with just children with autism, but the specialty that I really fell into was the behavior challenges. Like I can teach them letters and numbers and, all that academic stuff. But I loved it when there was a behavior happening, because I was like, why'd you throw that? Like, what just happened? It felt like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And I got a reputation in New York as being someone who's really good at the behavior stuff. So I've worked with almost every disability label, age group, and kind of grew slowly into all of these different realms. And people will call in and be like, let's try that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works. And would always be honest about what my experience was if I had worked with that population before and said, but if you're willing to try it, so am I. So let's see.
Yeah.
I always follow the same principles.
Yeah.
And so I ended up, following the career path, getting my doctorate because I wanted to study parent-teacher relationships, which I think in this moment is so critical.
Yeah.
How parents and teachers are working together. Because let's face it, most parents have become teachers. Right? Even if the school that is supporting you, that is giving you the curriculum, you are the one sitting down at the desk making sure your child is learning.
Yeah.
And that is a huge thing that, I just want to give you a round of applause because that is not necessarily the job you signed up for. So like, yay you. And we're going to talk about ways to make that a little bit smoother and easier for you.
Yeah.
And from there, I started my private practice in New York, which I actually go into homes.
Wow.
Not at the moment.
You're like a super nanny.
Yep, very much so. Yep.
Oh, wow.
And because the families that I really work with in my private practice are the ones who are like, we tried all the regular things. We did the tutors. We did the therapy. We called the specialist and none of it worked. Yeah. We need you now. Like I am the answer when you don't know what the answer is anymore.
Oh, wow.
And so I would really come in and say, what does it really look like? Let's not talk about it. Let's do it, because I'm very much about the action-based approach.
Yeah.
So I've put out a ton of content on my YouTube channel, in my books, on my website, because I just think if parents understood behavior, if teachers understood behavior, if we knew how to change it, then I could retire and sit on the beach and drink margaritas. I mean, because the beaches are all closed. But that really is, my dream, because behavior isn't a secret. No. And so I've traveled the world helping families, helping schools. Yeah. And in the past couple of years, I've started to help businesses as well, because the way we operate with our family, the way we operate in the classroom is the same way we operate in our businesses.
Yeah, sometimes we reset it up, don't we? But purposely, because we want to feel comfortable. So we reset up our family systems, our relationship systems in our workplaces, everywhere. And then we wonder why we have the same problems at work that we have at home.
Exactly. And I started working in businesses because I had families that I was doing behavior sessions with who would say, so that tool we talked about for my son last week, I used it in a meeting at work and my boss has never been nicer to me. Or, how you told me to get my kid to sit down and practice the piano? Well, my team at work wasn't getting any of their work done and I used the same techniques there and they're rocking it productively. And I'm like, productivity went up and your kid's playing piano. This is #winning. And so, I'm very much of the mindset of wherever I can help you, let me come help you. Yeah. So I've been taking the behavioral tools I have and kind of going in a broad sense. And this moment in time, it is a fascinating combination of all of my skills, because I go into homes. So I do know what truly realistically is happening behind closed doors, because I've been in so many of them.
Yeah.
I know what happens in classrooms because I've consulted to schools and done classroom support, observations, all of that, trainings for years. Yeah. And I've been in the corporate world. So I know what it looks like to have to get your job done, the high pressure states that happen there. And right now, so many parents are stuck at home with all of those things happening in, a 3 foot by 3 foot space.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Nadine, for having me here, for inviting this conversation, because quite honestly, I personally am finding so much grounding and joy in this moment by sharing what I know, because there's not a lot that we can all do to help right now. First responders, the medical community, the people who are delivering packages and all of those things, like, thank you.
Absolutely.
And the way that I feel like I can help right now is sharing this knowledge so that people's homes can feel more calm, more comforting, have more joy there. So
and I want to celebrate you, because I have seen you online every single day. And I love the music that you do at the beginning and the way that you get everybody dancing. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I absolutely love the energy with which you want to connect. It's so fabulous. And I have no doubt that it is helping thousands upon thousands of people to really be where they are and to have some ease and calm of nervous system and mind and everything.
For sure. So thank you. Actually, today is day 30. I've been doing a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live every single morning.
Wow.
And today is day 30 because I'm like, as long as we're home, I'm going to come in and celebrate with you. I'm going to bring you tips. I'm going to bring you joy, because I think for so many of us, it's really hard to find joy right now.
Yes.
So we need to borrow it from other people, right? So I show up and it helps me, because I'll wake up and be like, oh wait, I gotta motivate other people. It's gonna be amazing.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons as well why I started doing this, because, I realized that I was in a small space, and, I would have no human contact as well. And it made me really start to worry, not just because I'm in recovery from alcoholism again as well. So I'm 18 years sober. So I'm fabulous with that. But what about the people who aren't?
Right.
And what about the people who are at home with domestic violence? And what about the people who are not used to having their kids all around, or kids with special needs, or there are so many things that now have to be encapsulated in such a small space. And I thought one of the only ways that I know how is, as a coach and as an opera singer, and it is what you're saying, is integrate everything that I know to share with people tools and tips. I mean, no matter how small they are or how big they are, so it can help one person at least.
Yes, right.
Because if you're touching the one, that's it can also
the ripple is big.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Sure. So you have these tips and tools. So I would love to, if you could start us with them one by one. We would love to hear, and in any ways that would help the audience to kind of really know what to do. Yeah.
So this time, while we're all home, while schools are closed, and you are parenting and you are working and you are teaching and you are trying to be a human yourself, like all of these things have combined in a way that require a brand new toolkit, right? The things that you did as a parent 3 months ago are not the same things that you need to do today, and the rules are different. So the very first tool is to recognize that this is a different game. This is a different situation. This requires a different set of rules, a different set of expectations. And so when you can do that, what you have to look at is what is really important, right? There is a new set of priorities that you need to look at, because it's not what you could do in the office when you were there for 12 or 14 hours a day, or 8 or 10. What you could produce in that space versus what you can produce at home is different. What your kids learned in school versus what they can learn at home right now is different. It's not better or worse. It's just different. You have the same 24 hours and you have added in a whole bunch of different things that you need to do now, right? I never cooked my own lunch. I was always out in the world. There are all of these things that have changed. So the very first thing you need to do is recognize the difference and choose your priorities. Now, it is not my place to tell you your priorities, but I'm going to suggest 2 things to you, just in case you need a starting point. That the biggest things in your life right now are that you and your family are safe and healthy.
Excellent. Yeah.
We want to be really bold. We can also then add in happy.
Yes.
So for so many families, let me be clear, that means that you are going to do less. You're going to get less produced at work. You're going to do less of the academics, because we are all operating in this hugely emotional, hugely uncertain times. And therefore, our capacity to sit and focus and get things done is totally different than it was 3 or 6 months ago. And you need to give that space. So the most important things are that you are healthy, that you are safe, and that you are happy. If your kids feel loved, that is a win.
Yes, absolutely.
If your kids feel loved, that makes all the difference. So if that means that they're going to interrupt your meetings, assuming that you can set it up with your clients, with your company, that's okay, let them interrupt. And we're going to get into how to do all of those things with ease and grace. But I want to set you up in this space where you're thinking, oh, right, it's not that we have to get through every school lesson. Quite frankly, they will learn the academics later. They're resilient. They are smart. We as adults are still learning things all the time. They will get the academics. If they can't focus, take the fight out of your house and do less so that they can focus. And they feel loved and they feel safe and they feel taken care of, because we are all going to remember this time. We are making history. So make a conscious choice as a parent of what you want your kids to remember. And then make sure that's happening in your house. Right? If it's not happening, if you want your kids to remember that they felt safe and loved at this time, you have to make them feel safe and loved.
Yes.
So let's move on to the other tool so that you know how to do that.
So that's okay, great. Yeah, that's
right. Like I am very much about the concrete.
Yes.
Actually, this is what you go do. Here's your script.
Yes.
But if you don't know why you're using that script, you're not going to use it. So how to do that is number one.
Absolutely.
Number one, do less. Have your kids feel safe and loved.
Yeah.
Number two, you need to create routines in your home, right? And I always, when I think about this, I always think about preschool and cleanup songs.
Yeah.
Right? A preschool teacher starts singing, clean up, everybody, everywhere. Right? We all know the song. we all heard it. And I start singing the song and I'm like, what do I need to clean up? Like it is such a conditioned experience, right? And in our homes, you might not have a cleanup song because you just had, the weekends in which you really had to have your kids clean up. You didn't have a mealtime routine because you said, kids, dinner, and they came or didn't come. It was this way that there were routines in your family, but they weren't a mainstay the way they are in school, the way they are, even in work. When you have a meeting at work, you get your computer, you get your phone, you go to the conference room, you know what chair to sit in. You have a whole routine around so many of these things. Yeah. But now that we have a whole new set of experiences, you need to start creating routines very specifically, very intentionally, so that your kids know what's happening, so that you know what's happening, and so that you're set up for success.
Yes.
So if your kids aren't cleaning up, you might want to pick up a cleanup song. If getting everyone to sit down for meals has become a nightmare, create a mealtime routine. Maybe have your kids help you set the table so that they're kind of involved, or help them get part of the meal together. Depending on their age, they can cook more or less, right? But even just pouring something in can make them feel invested. All of those things. And specifically, getting them into a routine with your work, with their schoolwork, is going to be a game changer for you. What that means is you want to pick a specific place where they're going to do their learning every day. Now that space might be used for something else later in the day, but in my dream world, it's like, the left side of the table is where they're doing schoolwork, and the right side of the table is where you're having dinner, right? Being in Brooklyn, we have small spaces. If you have more space, take up all of the space, but get creative. This is where I'm doing schoolwork. When I sit down to do schoolwork, I get out my computer. If you're using a computer, I get out my notebook, I get out my packet of paper, I get out my pens, I get out my glass of water, and I sit down and I do work for 20 minutes. Mom sets a timer, dad sets a timer, and then I can get up. Because our kids can't sit for hours and hours and hours and hours. But that's a different part of the conversation. Create the routines for the moment in time. If you need to go into meetings and have your kids not interrupt you, then you have to set it up as a routine. Let them know, put up a signifier. Maybe there's a Post-it that, hot pink Post-it, you put that on the door. You cannot interrupt me when a hot pink Post-it is on the door. And then you have to teach them to not interrupt you. Like when they come in, you're like, Post-it, and you don't answer them because you have to teach them to do it. And then when you're off that critical call that they can't interrupt, you take the Post-it down, they know they can walk in and talk to you. What are those routines that you need to set up so that things can run more smoothly in your house?
Yes. Oh, it's just funny because we've been talking, and I've been talking about people planning and scheduling their time, because I feel that, as a coach, and what I've learned as a coach is that when we schedule our time, especially in a time like this, it really calms the nervous system. It also gives us an opportunity to kind of know what we're going to do and we've made a conscious decision about it rather than an unconscious decision about it, which creates anxiety. So I've been talking to people about planning playtime and fun time and eating time and every time you can think of, like from when you wake up to when you go to bed. And that's what I've been doing for myself. And actually it's worked wonders, and I've had a guest on earlier as well. And she was saying, I made my timetable, which was school timetable. So she sees herself as the head teacher, so she can make it flexible, and it empowers people. So I really hear you about the routine. It's really, really important.
Yes. And I love what you're talking about schedules, because my third tip is to create schedules.
Oh, okay. Great. Yes.
Right on target. And all of the things that you said about it being intentional. I don't care who you want to sit on the couch with your family for 5 hours and watch movies.
Exactly.
Yes, we need that.
Yes.
But do it on purpose.
Yes, exactly.
It's very different when we just accidentally are like, well, that was a whole day of Netflix. Because, like, I've done a lot. There's a lot happening in the world. I need to be entertained.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch Netflix all day. Like, it feels different in our bodies, in our minds, in our souls. So do it on purpose.
Yeah.
So around scheduling, I have two very specific ways that I suggest to do it on top of all of the things you've heard before. One is plan all of the times. So that, like, weird Saturday morning, you wake up, you're not really sure what's happening. Like, everyone's just kind of like amorphous. We tend to not schedule that time because we're like, there is no schedule.
Yeah.
Call that lazy morning.
Yeah.
Like, label it.
Yeah.
It can be 4 hours. It can be till noon. Like, it's not about it having to be contained. It's about naming it.
Yes.
So at other points in times when you have that lazy time, everyone knows what that means.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Because once we name it, then we can change it. If you don't want to be doing lazy time, then you can do something else. The other thing it does, though, is it allows you to have an idea of what's supposed to happen. So during playtime, which I think every family needs, like, have playtime, but then have a list next to your schedule. During playtime, we can play these 10 games because it takes the pressure off of you as the parent, as the adult, as a human to remember, well, what do I do with that now? Right? Part of why we are watching so much TV is, like, we're like, I can't figure it out to entertain myself. Like, I can't figure out what to do. But if you have a list as part of your schedule, then you don't have to remember what to do.
Yeah, you
right?
just do it.
School has math, English, history. Like, you have your subjects. You know what to sit down and do. Makes it easier to have that in your schedule. These weird focus times, you're like, what is that? I don't know. Yeah. The second reason that schedules are so fantastically magical is you need to add onto your schedule alone time, quiet house time, however you want to label it. But it's when everyone goes to their own corner of the house and doesn't talk to each other.
Yeah,
you need more than anything right now is, like, 3 minutes of quiet time for your sanity. You need, like, a little bit of, like, please don't talk to me. I'm not a mom right now. I'm not a dad. I'm not a parent. I'm not a human. Like, I am in my own cave. And while oftentimes you can just wait till your kids go to bed for that, it is also super important that you teach them, this is time you can't bother me. This is time that I need alone. It is a super important self-care tool for them to learn and for you to have that time. Start with it being a short amount of time, like 2 or 3 minutes, and extend it bigger and bigger as you need it.
Yes.
And the third piece about the schedules, do you have something? I see you.
No. Go. Yeah, I'm moving just because I'm just wanting to make sure, because they're bars. I just want to make sure that we stay in a good reception zone. Sometimes when the bars going down, I'm just moving so we can keep the frequency going. So don't worry about me.
Okay, good. And the third reason that schedules are super important is that so many kids are demonstrating different behavior, right? A lot of kids are regressing. They're asking for things they didn't have before. They want to come sleep in their parents' bed. They want to, sit on your lap more. And if you have a schedule where you name all of these things, then you can name some of those experiences, make it part of the schedule, which allows you to either say, great, we're going to do this for the next 2 months, or we're going to do this for a night and see what happens. But then it gives you the flexibility to go back. Just like we have vacation rules where we have dessert every night and house rules where we only have dessert on the weekends, or whatever it is in your house. Yeah. If your kid is wanting to come sleep in your bed and that is giving them comfort because they are just scared and overwhelmed right now, quite frankly, going back to point one, it's a different set of rules. So say yes, because it's going to give them comfort, but name it, put it on the schedule. We're going to have family sleepover night. Since you can't sleep over at a friend's house, we're going to have a sleepover night. But then that allows you to go back to the regular nights where you sleep in your bed and I sleep in my bed. Yeah. Now, if you have a sleepover night for the next month because they need that comfort, great. But then you also have a way to talk about it and put it back to where you want it. Perhaps in a month from now, perhaps when our doors open and we can go back outside and create a new version of what life looks like. But if we don't label it, then we can't talk about it intelligently and code it. So scheduling is super important. Name everything. Even that, like, weird amorphous downtime that you're like, oh yeah.
No, I completely agree. I'm so glad that we're on the same hymn sheet. This is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we got that. So 4. We're up to 4, right? Yes, we're up to 4.
We're up to 4.
4 is all about technology and screen time. for so many years, for so long. There is so much research out there about how much screen time your kids could have, and it was always very carefully monitored, and parents, set timers and boundaries, and here's the thing around it, right? All of those rules out the window right now. Yeah. They just are. It is a different set of rules right now. And so if you are a parent who has had your child on screen time for school, for socialization, because you needed to get work done, because you needed to clean the house, because you needed to sit in a corner and just breathe without talking to them for an hour, whatever it is, if you are giving them more screen time, I want you to not beat yourself up for it anymore. I want you to say, this is okay. This is a survival mechanism. This is important because you being able to get through your day, your kids being able to get through their day is more important than anything else right now. So that doesn't mean that all of that research isn't still true. It just means it was done at a different point in time when there were different rules in the world. Yeah. And so you're going to do what you need to do to make sure that you guys are getting through the day well. Family movie night? Yes. Every night? Yep. Do it right now. when this is over and we can go out and we can be outside and we can play with friends and family in real life, well, then we'll undo all of whatever the huge amount of technology and screen time is that we've done. But for right now, they need to be on computers for their learning. They need to be on screen times in order to connect socially, which is so important for all of us right now. Yes. And so it also means that by the time it's time to sit down and play or, do something else, you're all a little fatigued. And so if that means that having family movie night is the way you can make it through the evening with harmony, go for it. Stop beating yourself up for it, except that there's a new set of rules, all is well.
Yes.
One of the biggest conversations I'm having with families right now, like, yes, do the thing that's going to feel good. Yeah. Forget all the rules about screen time right now.
That's amazing because so many parents, I think, and can feel, I personally don't have any kids, but I am an auntie. I am a godmother. I do have lots and lots of friends with kids who are the most amazing mothers and fathers as well. But I do notice that, oh my God, they're on the laptop, or oh my God, they're on the thing, and I feel really guilty about that, and oh, they should be off that, and I do notice that is always a thing, because maybe they can feel like they're not giving them enough attention, but for some people also is that it's the only way that they get time alone as well. So it's that kind of, it's quite kind of that knowing what that balance is, and you just saying that it's okay and that they get full permission to just do that is amazing.
Parenting expert expressively giving you permission to put your kids on technology. Yeah. You have it.
Yeah.
Use it. Yeah. Right. Use it in a way that is going to benefit you and let go of the guilt. Yeah. Right. I have a standing Saturday brunch with a bunch of girlfriends. Like there's 8 of us, at 3:00 we hop on Zoom. Not everyone makes it every week, but it's like just this place where we know we can connect. And many of the women on the call are parents, and they're like, yep. So they're watching Sesame Street for 2 hours while we have this brunch.
Yeah.
But having that connection, having that social time is super important.
Yeah.
And so they're not like, oh yeah, they're watching some trash. Like they're aware of what their kids have on the screen. Yeah. And that's important. You want to, monitor that a little bit, but for you to use it so that you can have times of connection, so that you can get work done. If you have a super important meeting, that is a great time to have TV, have screen time navigated, and stop feeling guilty, stop beating yourself up. There are so many things that we can't control right now. So many things that, if you're having anxiety about, I'm going to be like, yep, me too. So many things are happening right now that we can't control, that we can't understand, that we are frazzled about. Yeah. That if this is one of those things that you are wasting energy on, consider it wasted energy. Just be like, okay, this is one of the survival tips.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone in the world is buying extra toilet paper. If you have a year's worth of toilet paper in your house, which many of us do right now, that's the same thing as using some extra screen time, right? It is a survival mechanism right now. Rock with it. Just rock with it. We'll fix all the things that need to be fixed later when we can go outside and play. We will undo it. I'll come back. We'll do another chat about how to undo it.
Even though we don't want everybody to go out and buy toilet paper, because actually there is enough toilet paper for everyone. Sure. There is. And please buy responsibly. We absolutely want everybody to buy responsibly, because if there isn't anything there for other people, that is not okay. Right. So I'm just putting that out there now, just in case,
Yeah, for sure. I just know in the States that people bought a ton and were hoarding it and then wanted to try to return it because they were like, oh, right, I don't actually need all of this. And stores were like, you can't return it. There are no return policies.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So, yeah, we had the same problem in the UK, but actually, you know, we had our, you know, Prime Minister say, come on, can we just be responsible? And actually it has got better. So that's really, really great.
It's gotten much better here too, which is also, I think, why I use it as an example, because it's something that I think we all can relate to and have like found our ease with, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Screen time can be something that you are still holding on to the way we were holding on to toilet paper, but like you can find that ease now because you're like, okay, like let that ease come in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So number 5.
Number 5. Oh, we made it to number 5. We made it to number 5. So number 5. You know,
the rhyming.
The joy of being on a call with a real singer. I sing with enthusiasm, not beauty. You sing with both. It's so good. Okay. So number 5 is to keep celebrating. Keep celebrating. We are in a moment where birthdays are happening. Last week, we just had a ton of holidays, right? It was Easter. It was Passover. There was the full moon. So whatever you celebrate, there is going to be something that comes up. And finding a way within your home, within social distancing, within being safe, for you to feel special, for your kids to feel special, for these holidays to still happen is so important because that's where we find joy.
Yeah.
And it is also where we find comfort.
Yeah.
So I went to Passover Seders. We did them virtually. You know, all of the social distancing rules apply. I was home. I actually didn't have any of the Passover food here because I hadn't been to the store, and of all the things I needed, I didn't stock up on matzah. And so I didn't have any of the Seder fixings, but other people on the call did. And they were like holding up the plate and be like, and now this, here's the harissa, you know, all of the stuff.
Yeah.
It was so comforting to be in that familiar routine of what the holiday is.
Yeah.
Those are things that we know. I know that there were so many services on Easter done virtually. Yeah. So whether you are part of a particular church and could stream in or somewhere else, the prayers that we know kind of hit our heart, hit our soul, and like, oh, that's familiar. Oh, not everything has gone upside down.
Yeah.
Having a birthday party and having friends or family from around the world hop on a Zoom call or send you video messages or whatever it is, let that still be a celebration. Order gifts on Amazon, wrap them up, and let your kids still open presents, right? Or however you are ordering things, you know, you have a local independent store, please buy it from them, right? All of those pieces. But can you make a present if you aren't buying presents right now? You know, draw a picture. But how can we still, within our own homes, create ways to celebrate? Can we make a cake? Can we make a cupcake? Can we make a special dinner? Because these are the moments where we can see what our soul, we can watch our soul light up when there's something good happening. And so I have so many people who are like, my birthday's canceled. I have no idea how to celebrate my kid's birthday. There's a graduation happening and I'm devastated it's not gonna. No. Like,
Yeah.
Not gonna be the same. And if you need to grieve that, again, full permission, have all of your feelings about it. And then create a giant banner about graduation.
Yeah, because we are creative beings. We are such creative beings. We all know how to think on our feet. We are so resourceful. And especially if you have kids, the kids are the most resourceful of all.
Because they'll tell you, like, be like, well, how can we celebrate this? What would make it feel special? You know, today there's a couple of videos that I've seen where like people are getting dressed up in ball gowns to take their garbage out, right? Like, there are pictures of couples sitting on their kitchen floor eating dinner in their wedding gear. Like, what can you do to get all dressed up and celebrate something with whatever you have at home? Because the year isn't canceled. The celebrations are canceled. We have to do it differently. And different isn't bad. It's just different. And so we need to get in that mindset of how can we celebrate this? You know, if I need to rip up some construction paper and throw it in the air for confetti because I can't have fireworks this year for 4th of July, you better believe that's going to happen.
Yes.
I'll do the next day. But we have to get creative and still find those ways to have joy. Do not let this moment overtake you. Do not cancel all of the good. And in those moments where you feel low and it feels hard to overcome that, do it for your kids because they need this, because they have no idea. Like they're not able. I mean, we can't wrap our heads around it, so our kids can't either. So keep celebrating for them.
Yes.
For them.
Yeah. Oh, I was just thinking, like on kind of a last point, I was thinking like there's going to be many people that are also affected by this at the moment and are going to be at home with sick loved ones or loved ones that have passed away. I mean, how do how can parents or people with kids kind of help have a coping mechanism to kind of work with this? Have you got any ideas around that?
I do.
Oh, brilliant. Thank
so
you.
one of them is to be prepared.
Yeah.
I think that it's really easy for all of us to pretend it's, if we aren't personally touched by COVID-19 right now, and if we aren't sick and the people in our home aren't sick, we're like, right, this is some weird thing where I'm just working from home and like kind of forget that this is a health crisis. And so sit down with whoever you are home with, the adults, let me be clear, the adults that you are home with, and make a plan.
Yeah.
If someone is sick, is there a way that you have a space in your apartment where they can quarantine and not be with everybody? What are the words you're going to share with your kids? And depending on the age of your kids, that's going to change, right? If you have a 2 or 3 year old, you're going to talk about, whoever is taking care of themselves and sick, but, they're sick and they need to rest and we're going to give them space. If you have an 8, 9, 10 year old, they're going to want to know, they're going to ask, they're going to know enough to say, is this about COVID-19? And you're going to have to tell them the truth. I'm a big fan of the truth. If you have a teenager, they're going to understand it all, and you're going to have to tell them and navigate all of their feelings and your feelings around them.
Yeah, brilliant.
Really open, transparent conversation. Decide how you want to talk to your kids about it before you're in that moment. Decide what support networks you're going to need. If you are a 2-parent house, what you are going to do if one of you is sick is very different than if you are a 1-parent house. You are a 1-parent house, you really need to stop and think about what are you going to do? Who do you need to call? How do you get support in place? And it's also going to look very different if you're in a home where there are grandparents or aunts and uncles. If you've gone a place where you're in community, it's going to look different that way. You also want to have a plan of if someone has to go to the hospital, what is that going to look like? Because while none of us want to think about it, the only thing we can do to make that feel better is to have a plan.
Okay. Yeah.
And then staying socially connected.
Yes.
So making sure that your kids are talking to other friends, that you are talking to other people, because that emotional support, especially if there is a loss in your family, is going to be super, super, super important. So that social connection, because we're not able to be together and hug our friends who have a loss or receive a hug if we had a loss. And so making sure that you have that connection going so that if you need that emotional support, if you need that person to be there for you, who are you going to call? How can they support you? And are you going to break your quarantine? I mean, I know people who were like, I've been self-isolating for 3 weeks now. You've had a loss. I am showing up and I am staying and I'm going to help you, right? Like we're doing extraordinary things right now. So what are the rules around that are going to feel good? You won't actually know what it feels like till you're there. You won't really know.
And basically, nobody has to be there. But the ones that are already there and have this is really helpful. You know, really, really helpful. Thank you so much. Where can everybody find you? Because your shows every day are absolutely amazing and energetic. Where can parents go to get that support every day that you've been doing?
Yeah, so I'm going to send you to 2 different places. One is we're on Facebook, so come find me on Facebook. It's Dr. Marcie Beigel. And I can put it in the chat for you, so it's really easy to find. It's my business page. So at 8:30 every morning Eastern time, so New York City time. I don't know the translation of it clearly.
We don't. So we didn't work it.
8:30 a.m. during the week and noon on the weekends. I am doing a Facebook Live. It's also on YouTube Live, which is also Dr. Marcie Beigel. So whichever channel you prefer, come find me there. Like my page, I'd be super grateful. And I have an ebook called My Kids Don't Listen that I wrote before all of this, but it's 10 do's and don'ts for parents. And so if you go to mykidsdon'tlisten.com and enter your email address, you will get this ebook, which might be just like a really good resource for you to have right now. So I want you to have the both ends. Like, here is my 10 rules to follow. here is my daily dose of joy and behavior guidance. Come in both of those places, because I would love to have you there. And if there's any other way that I can help you, as I said in the beginning, part of what is helping me feel productive and useful and give back is to share this knowledge with others, to come speak, to, you know, do individual sessions if people need it, whatever it is, however I can be of service. It is my honor right now to do that.
And thank you for waking up so early. I mean, it's like 4 a.m. or something, or just...
It is 5:21 a.m. in New York right now.
Oh, no, I'm just so... Thank you so much. I wake up at 4 a.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. anyway, but I'm just thinking there are a couple of people that are in the chat. Omar, hi. Carlene, Ray, hi. Donna, Natalie, Michelle, if you're there, hi. Is there anybody who's watching that directly wants to ask Dr. Marcie a question right now? We're happy to just stay here for 2 minutes. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a time, so I just want to we'll just wait and see if there's anybody comes up.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for being here. Oh, I wasn't expecting you here. Thank you, Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
I just want to see if there's anybody else here that has a question for Dr. Marcie. Please, please, please feel that you can answer.
Take it on in. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you can also do is, if you're watching this on a replay, because I know that the time got kerfuffled, I will check back in later today on the feed. So if you have a question, type it in, and I will do my best to answer it in a type, or I might hop on with a quick, like, let me do a quick 2-minute video to answer that question, because sometimes I can talk through things better than I can write them out.
You see, your generosity of heart is just beautiful. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody that's here now, everybody who watches the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to join me tomorrow, I will be here with Mr. Brian Colbert, who is a master trainer of NLP. He runs the Irish Institute of NLP. He's also the author of 2 books, The Happiness Habit, and also From Ordinary to Extraordinary, How to Live an Exceptional Life. He'll be on here with me tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So I
will not be watching that live, but I might have to come catch the replay.
Oh, do. He's amazing. I've been studying with him for like 16 years. He's amazing.
I love it.
All my qualifications in NLP through him. So he's. You
know that I'm a master prac of NLP? No,
I didn't know that. Oh, we have to talk.
I'll throw that out there for you. All the things.
So if you can, please join us tomorrow. Again, let's thank Dr. Marcie for being here on the Parent Survival Toolkit. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a blessed day and stay safe. Stay home. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.